Welcome to episode 5 of the Explosive Strength Podcast with Jared Bidney. In today's episode, I'm just basically going to recap box squat. So this will be like box squat round 2. I may have missed some things. I don't have any editing software or any way to clean up what I do. This is just a raw podcast. You're getting me as I am. So my brain's all over the place and I may miss some things. So anyway, we're going to recap episode 4. We box squat because box squatting allows us to use the static dynamic method when we squat, which is a method used to basically trick the nervous system in for more neuromuscular recruitment because it's actually the neurons pulling on the fibers that make the fibers contract. So you can either get a bigger muscle by increasing the fiber size, or you can actually recruit more neurons to pull on the muscle fiber, which will make the fiber contract harder and faster. Okay, so that's the trick for a particular athletic performance. You're not concerned with just because the muscle gets bigger does not mean it's going to contract faster or harder. So if you're doing multiple sets and reps of anything above 6 per se, you're not targeting what you should be as far as more speed development for jumping or running. Okay, I always see people looking at the next greatest exercise or something. They're trying to, oh, I want something hard. I want to come in. Let's try this. Let's do that. No, stick to the plan. Remember, you find you and you got to stick with it. It's not necessarily the exercise that produces the results. It's the exercise coupled with different methods that produce the desired result. So let's take bench press for an example. If you see someone doing a cool exercise on Instagram, they may be wanting to add muscles. They may actually be using a drop set or a strip set while they bench press, which is hard. You're sitting there, you're bench pressing, you bang out a couple of reps, take off weight, rack it, take off weight, do a couple more reps. You just go to complete exhaustion. Okay, that would be a method used to create muscle hypertrophy. Okay, someone looking to be more explosive would use like a heavy light set, or you could even use the heavy light set coupled with static dynamic. So let's take, if someone was squatting, you can take, if we're doing a box squat, 3 to 4 reps, maybe even 5. Then after your set of squat, you go immediately and perform a set of depth jumps. So squat, jump, rest. Squat, jump, rest. That would allow for the heavy light. You're actually turning on the nervous system and you're not fatiguing the muscle because you're not doing more than 6 reps or whatever. So you're actually making the nervous system excited for more recruitment. So when you take that heavy load off your back, then you go do or perform a jump from a drop down or a jump up onto something, your nervous system is turned on and is ready to fire. And over time, if you keep tricking the system like that, you're going to have more neurons attached to the fibers, which will allow for a greater contraction speed. So if you have patience and if you stick to a program long enough, and you keep getting that stimulus over and over and over, you will have the neural recruitment that you're looking for to produce your result. But you cannot go in and, oh, I think I'm going to do a bodybuilding method today. So let's do sets of 20 on squat. You can't do sets of 20. Once you fatigue the muscle tissue and you do a depth jump or a drop down, that muscle is fatigued and it's not going to support that falling body. And therefore you can get a pretty good injury. Okay. So let's go over, I also spoke about yesterday about creating more neuromuscular demand. So like for these skill athletes, baseball players, there used to be an epidemic of oblique pulls or strains. Now you have some kids getting Tommy John surgery in their elbows. The ligaments and the tendons and the muscle tissue surrounding the joints are not strong enough. So what's happening is these sport athletes have practiced their skill so much and neglected the training aspect or the enhancement of physical ability, like we talked about. So if they're skill, and they do not take time out of their training cycle and enhance their physical ability, they're going to have those tears, strains, or whatever. So that surgery is actually putting them back further than what they should. So as you enhance your skill, you're also creating and calling for more neuromuscular demand. If you do not change or enhance your structural strength, you will have breakdown. If you're not putting your eggs, butter, and sugar together in the right qualities, you will have a failed recipe. Just like athletic training, too much skill and not enough physical development, you'll have a torn muscle or a ligament. And too much time spent with the physical ability, you may not have the skill to complete the task. So one without the other, you will lose. And so it's basically not enough butter in your cookies, and you won't eat them, okay? So we also talked about Lasky. He went from moving 315 at 0.6 to moving 405 at 0.6. His body weight went up, so he was moving 1.72 times his body weight faster than he was moving 1.4 times his body weight. Okay, the result of that from January, February, mid-March, he went from running mid 470, and at his pro day, he actually ran a 450 and a 455. So he went from basically a 4.7 to a 4.5. That's the whole point about our moving our high relative strength at a higher rate of speed, okay? And we also talked about, I use a box. They are 12 inches with a 6-inch blue foam pad. I think the blue foam pad's the key for the athletes because it's not a hard surface, so they actually sink in. So it's like the difference between getting off your couch, like I said, versus getting off a hard chair. It makes it a little harder, causing a lot more demand on the nervous system to fire to get them up. You cannot start a heavy weight slow, but I also talked about how each athletes have like different heights based off their shin length and things like that. I have to see it. It's not something that you can write a book and be concrete over because everybody's kind of built a little differently. So you got to kind of figure out where that person's at. Okay. And you'll get some athletes where they're, oh, that box is too low. No, you're just not strong enough to handle it. So used to back in the day, I would have more athletes. Once we got a desired result, Ben Baggett going from a 5.3 or whatever to a 4.8, we know that it works, okay? And he's not the only one. I just named off a lot of other people yesterday about their improvements and things. Once you improve an athlete so much, they're going to listen to you, you know, because they know that I'm there to help them. And so what we'll do at this point in time, all right, so we increased Ben's box height by 1 inch, okay? Because he wanted to squat off a higher box. You can use more weight, but the more weight does not necessarily equal to greater running speed or jumping ability. So let's try it, okay? I'm up for trying it. He wants to do it. So if you have an athlete that wants to try to do something, hey, experiment with them. I mean, the only way to truly know something is to do it, okay? You don't do it 1 or 2 times and like, okay, that didn't work. You have to actually stick with it long enough to see if it does work, okay? Record progress. So Ben squatted off the box that was higher. 1 month, his 40 went from 4.8 to 4.9. All right. Other factors could have been there. So let's do it in another month. Went to a 5 flat. So we went backwards 0.2 of a second because the box higher. As soon as we dropped the box back down, all the way down to where it needed to be, the 12-inch mark, he went back to a 4.8. Then a 4.7. So it's kind of like, okay, well, that didn't work. Well, let's try it with this other guy. Once you figure out, and it may work for some, I also used Mike Muska on that. We kept it low. He went from a 5 flat, 4.9 to 4.8. We raised it up, and he started going backwards. Like, all right. But they're roughly about the same height, okay? I also noted that we use more of a closed stance. We do not use a super wide stance. The reason we don't use the wide stance, the wider your feet go, the closer your butt gets to the ground. Well, if the box is 12 inches and you widen your feet out too much, that box is actually going up. So your distance to the box is actually changed. So that wide stance off a 12-inch box with that blue foam pad would actually make you be like you're using a higher box, okay? So figure out, manipulate your feet where they need to be and test it, and you'll get your results at the end of each month if you have enough doing it. You got to make sure you sit. You've got to break up the eccentric-concentric chain. Sit and explode, okay? If you have Tendo units, use those. Record your speed. Figure out where you need to be at, and get it done. Athletic training, like I said, as about relative strength. Okay. Do not shortchange yourself by increasing the box height. I'll go to my 24-hour gym and that box is jacked up 3 or 4 notches, and I'm thinking, oh, what the heck's that kid doing? I don't know what their goals are, so I'm just sitting there thinking, I just think, these people ain't got a freaking clue. But that's what I think, and I see the pins and all kind of other stuff. I think a lot of people just go find an exercise and do something. Training is about a process. You got to have your exercises in order, and you got to be consistent. Consistency is the biggest key. Even for like these young kids, if you get an 8 or 9-year-old, you don't have to overboard push them. Like my 8, 9-year-olds, we regular squat. I am building structure. And if I get a high school kid and I need to prove to them that they can get faster, we're going to box squat. Okay. But if you got someone that does not necessarily care, build their structure. Front squat them, regular squat them, safety squat bar squat them, safety squat bar box squat them. I don't care. Figure it out. Get them involved. Change them. It's pretty cool if you can get someone to stick with you long enough. But right now, people have ADD and they just want to come in, get out. So, and you've even got people that come to you, hey, I want to increase my bench. So they start looking up bench press programs. I said, I'm a bench press specialist. I know how to take care of that. And so when they first come in, you'll start manipulating their technique, but they don't want to do that. They want to do what they're good at. So do not allow them, if they're bad, adjust them. Make sure that they stick to what they need to be doing instead of, oh, I'm good at that. So because right now, sometimes they'll come in, I'm more of an arm dominant bencher. They'll come in and they'll want to continue to use their bench press technique because they may lift 5 or 10 pounds more the way they're doing it now. But once they get the weaker muscles to override their stronger muscles, then their technique will start changing. Then their strengths will continue to increase. Okay. So try not to get too much off on a tangent with that. Just make sure you're make sure you record body weights. Like Lasky went up from 217, 218 to 230, 235. As 40-yard drop down, he went from a 31-inch vertical to a 35-inch vertical. So this kid got heavier, he was stronger, and he was faster. When he was getting ready for his pro day, he also had a competitor that went to a different training facility. His competitor, the guy that he was at the pro day with, played the same position at Tech. He went to a guy that had trained several NFL guys before. And this kid lost weight. He was leaner, looked good, but his vertical jump went down, his bench press reps went down, and he did not run faster. So how in the heck do you get lighter and your performance numbers go down? That means they were conditioning. They were not training for those specific adaptations, So just because the workout's hard and you're losing weight and you're looking good, and if you're not getting faster or jumping higher, especially what they're trying to measure for a pro day or for a combine, you're not doing the right thing. And the only way to know is you've got to track that. You got to come in from workout. If you jumped a 31.3 inch vertical, you need to come in and jump a 31.4 at the minimum. It's up to you to beat your numbers. So anyway, that will be that for episode 5, box squat round 2. Sorry if I keep rambling on, but like I said, it's just me, raw, new editing software. So anyway, if you have questions, you can reach out to me at info@Explosive Mechanics. Follow me on Instagram at Explosive Mechanics or at Jared Bidney. Check out the website, jaredbidney.com or explosivemechanics.com. Thank you and have a good day.